This video is sponsored by War Thunder, more about them later in the video. What happened? Can anyone tell me what happened at Riot that all of a sudden they keep pumping out skins that the overall community likes more and more? Not only that, they also just casually sprinkle in some of the coolest lore skins we ever got. And out of all champions, when we got what might be the most interesting lore skin we ever got, Zoe got it. Is her head too big? But yes, it's been a really good year to be a fan of the League of Legends lore. Among the countless minigames and the comics that are pushing the story of League of Legends forward, we got some cool character progression going on. Overall, everything is also still tied to Arcane, which none of us are getting full of. And yes, Riot is also tying more and more cosmetics to it. With the latest addition to all of these lore-themed cosmetics being a skin that might also be teasing the very finale of this year. Because you see, not only is this likely not Zoe, but it is also tied to one of the biggest wars that was ever waged on Runeterra, which is a topic today's sponsor knows a lot about. War. War never changes. Unless we are talking about the ever-evolving war simulator War Thunder, the sponsor of today's video. War Thunder is just about the most comprehensive, detailed and immersive combat vehicle game there has ever been. Better yet, it is available for free on PC, consoles and your own mobile devices that are sitting in your pocket right now. Meaning, the game is heavily optimized. In War Thunder, you can command over 2,500 tanks, planes, helicopters and ships, all of which come from 10 different major nations, all of which have their own unique vehicles, ranging from the armored cars of the 1920s to the modern jets and tanks of today. All of these can be customized not just with camouflages and historical markings, but also with community-made decals. Speaking of which, using these vehicles you can join massive PvP battles alongside 95 million other players, forming one of the biggest communities focusing on military history. And they all take part in some of the most immersive battles out there. Just look at those juicy X-ray damage views. You can practically smell the grease coming off of those plates. I should do the dishes. So go out there and pilot the most powerful machines of our history in War Thunder. By using my links in the description, you can enjoy the game for free on PC, PlayStation, Xbox and mobile. And you will get a massive bonus pack if you are a new or returning player who has not played in the last 6 months on PC or console, which includes multiple premium vehicles as well as an exclusive decorator. But don't wait, since that bonus is only up for a limited time. Once again, the links to all of that will be below. Many thanks to War Thunder for sponsoring this video, and now, let's go back to fantasy-style wars. So, pretty much out of nowhere, the day after we got the dev post from Riot, they also dropped a new PvE where all kinds of new teasers were unleashed. Of course, it is a PvE patch, so it also included some new skins, with the first one being Biko, or B-Nico. This is your standard cool bee-themed skin. Based on the views alone, it seems like people like it a lot. I mean, it is Nico that is shooting honey, she throws pollinated flowers with honey, her clone is covered in honey, her E is a bunch of bees, and her ultimate is quite impressive on all kinds of levels. But you know what is more impressive than that? The fact that Skarner is also getting a skin. How incredible! And it is a really good skin at that! I mean, Mega Kingdom Skarner was kinda foretold. It is the easiest kind of a skin to slap onto a monster. Wild Rift taught us all about that, and so Skarner is literally a walking house. And I'll be honest, those VFX are crazy. Just the base model has a lot of jets on it to make you feel like you are controlling a mech. He also throws pieces of broken mechs around. The shield and the charge both have a new unique color palette. With the ultimate being cool, I kinda appreciate the jagged edges. And so it is pretty much a big win for all Skarners. But of course, the skin that we are the most interested in is the Eternal Aspect Zoe, which is a skin we need a lot of context for. First of all, as part of the same PvE, people were also able to data mine some images from the upcoming Battle Pass. So here it starts with Xin Zhao getting ready for the Trials of Twilight. Here we can see Xin likely in the trials. We then got some pieces of his flashbacks, likely from the beginning of his story here. I wonder if that's teasing something. We also got a background of Zahen arriving in Ionia. And here, notice the moon on the side, okay? Just notice that it is the same moon that was also on the parchment that Zahen brought in the comic. Then there is also an image of Zin and Yunara in the trials. And finally, sure, that's totally just a black inky flower drawn on a paper instead of a black rose that is also not marked with a Xin Zhao's seal. But yes, the point is that Zoe's skin is likely tied to this entire story because it is the reward from the end of the battle pass, which may make you wonder, how is Zoe related to Xin Zhao's story? Well, it turns out, in many ways. You see, as we mentioned when we talked about Zahen's comic, the reason why the scroll that Zahen brought in was so cool is because this is what directly tied everything into the aspect of Twilight. And so, very long story short, again, after the Ascended slowly turned mad and they turned into the Darkin, with Azir dead and no one to control them, the Darkin quickly spun out of control as they waged the Great Darkin War. Of course, the Celestials noticed that there was a group of weird creatures now rampaging across the world. And so, Twilight decided to do something about it. During the times of those wars, the current aspect of Twilight was Misha. It wasn't Zoe yet. And Misha arrived in Shurima with a plan. During a big gathering of the Darkin, where some Darkin wanted to negotiate about the wars and others just wanted to slaughter anyone else present, Misha used the ancient blade known as the Chalikar to reflect the power of the moon and annihilate all the present Darkin. And yes, once again we have to mention that Chalikar, the weapon that destroyed these first Darkin, is the same blade that Sivir is holding right now. Anyway, the reason why this worked is simple. Technically, the Darkin, who were previously the Ascended, were created with the power of the sun. Because the Ascended used to be mortals who were empowered by the sun through the great sun disk in the middle of Shurima. But the counterpart to sun is, of course, the moon. And so Twilight had taught us that what the sun made, the moon can unmake. After this, the aspect of Twilight couldn't just teach mortals how to use her power. Not only would mortals not be even able to handle this kind of power, but also, if they did, that would involve all kinds of other power struggles. In fact, in the story The Twilight of the Gods, Misha only ever taught the moon magic to just one Ascended, who was a Darkin. And in that story, they used the magic and died. Misha even warned them, don't use it, it would break you. And so instead of doing that, the Twilight gave mortals a tool. Instead of annihilating the Darkin, she taught the mortals how to seal the Darkin inside weapons. This was seemingly a better alternative. And with that, Misha simply let mortals to do the rest around the world. This is when Zahen then enters the story and he brings this message into Ionia, after which the rest of the story plays out. Taking all of this into consideration, this means that the one entity that knows how to and can handle the Darkin is Twilight, with Twilight also being in the name of the season. Which is also happening during a season where LeBlanc is seemingly trying to figure out how to merge a Darkin and a demon. So whatever the outcome of this season is gonna be, it seems like our heroes might need the help of the Twilight. Which is where this skin finally comes in. The first thing to notice here is the golden streak underneath her eye. This is the exact same pattern as the seams that we saw in all the teasers. And if you have a look at the splash art, we are in Targon. This doesn't seem to be an alternative universe, this is the Mount Targon. Now in the recall you can see that she pulls out a ring and smashes it across her forehead. I'm not sure what that's referencing, and I just hope that's gonna make sense by the end of this story. Which finally gets us into the bio of this skin. Twilight is a tipping point, the spark of mischief at the edge of night, and the whispered promise that nothing in creation will remain always as it is now. Yet, despite her reputation for being fickle or fair weather, she has been present at countless moments when the world needed a firm nudge towards transformation, renewal, or fresh possibilities. Overall, this is a cool, vague description of what the Twilight does. She may be a trickster, but she's also very serious in the moments where it matters. In fact, in the story The Twilight of the Gods, she was brutally cold. But it turns out, this skin was also set up with its own universe bio. And this is where things get interesting. For millennia, the formidably powerful aspects have worked tirelessly from the celestial realm to guide and strengthen Runeterra. Each one claims to be the ultimate manifestation of a universal truth of creation. Indeed, they seek out mortal hosts worthy and capable of furthering their agendas, enabling them to walk the world in physical forms once more. So, first of all, up until this point, we didn't really know what was the point to the Celestials. We didn't really know their goals or their ambitions. We just knew that they fought the Void, which is kinda the ultimate enemy of all of reality. And so this information, that they also battle each other because they think they are better than the rest, is new. And I'd like to say, I don't think this is retconning anything. It really seems like an expansion of the story we got so far. But all of this really gets cool when you realize that this skin kinda refers to itself as the Twilight, meaning that this skin could be one of three things. Either we are talking about Zoe, who ascended into a more pure form of the aspect. In theory, she could just become a pure Celestial. In fact, this is something that might have been teased with Tiari the Traveler, who climbed Mount Targon and became a Celestial known as the Traveler. Or it is possible that this skin could be a different incarnation of the Twilight. Maybe this is Misha, though she was described to have different eyes. Her eyes were blue and purple. But then there is also the third option, which might be the coolest one. It is possible that this could simply be the Twilight. Not just an aspect that would be a mortal vessel to the Celestial. Instead, this could be the Celestial itself, which is a concept that makes this skin massively interesting. And that is simply because Riot did set up an entire skin bio-universe for this, meaning that other skins in this skin line are likely to come. What's even better, we kinda know what a couple of these already look like. The one that people will know is War. In this case, this is Pantheon, the aspect of War, and this is War. This is what the Celestial behind Pantheon looks like, and I'll be honest, that would be a really cool skin. What is cool is that in the case of the Sun and the Moon, we also know what they look like. While it was never directly confirmed that these are the Celestials, well, if you have a look at their designs and who they are, it is kinda hard to say that they would be anything else but that. What's even crazier is that previously Skin Spotlight's data mined that both Leona and Diana should be getting a legendary skin or higher. And so if we have a look at the concept of the skin line, well, people are getting excited. Also, in the case of Leona specifically, we do have one ancient piece of art that showed what the aspect originally looked like. This one comes from the old lore book. It still looks dope. If that's what the skin looks like, then be ready for some Elden Ring vibes. But unfortunately, that's kinda it for the art of the aspects that we have. We could also talk about Mira, which is the mother of Kael and Morgana, who is technically the aspect of justice. But that's just an aspect. Who knows how creepy the actual Celestial is? It is possible that Zolani gave us a hint. And so, all of this then comes with just one extra cool thing. Because we are also getting the Twilight Surge as a Nexus finisher. Again, considering the season, this is heavily thematic. We get to use the power of Twilight to seal the enemy after winning. And again, because we are talking about the power of Twilight, which is kinda in between the Sun and the Moon, you can see that the finisher starts with a moon, but then the Sun splits out of it, and then the Sun explodes, which looks amazing. But I don't think too many Leona mains will use it. Once again, many thanks to War Thunder for sponsoring this video. Don't forget that if you use my links, you'll get that juicy pack as a new or returning player who has not played in the last 6 months on PC or console.